Hi and welcome to another video. So this is going out on both of my channels, poppers and stick baits, and also lure fishing for wrasse. So you'll be able to find it in two places. So I'm very lucky that I came back from a fishing trip to the Maldives the beginning of December. We were actually on an atoll called Vaavu Keyodhoo. We went there via Spoilt For Choice Fishing Holidays. And this is what I found. This is some of the stuff I used. I'm by no means an expert, but if you've never been on anything like this before, this might help you. So I took three setups. I took four actually. I took a heavy, a medium, a light, and then a jigging setup. So this was the rod I used for the heavy setup. So this is let's try and get this so you can actually read it. This is a Cape Cod Special Nano. There is also a graphite version of this. The graphite version is supposed to be a bit of a pig of a rod, but this one is actually really nice. So this is 8'6" long, as I said. It'll go up to P10 and it will cast up to 200 grams. Butt ring is reversed, as you would expect on this kind of thing, just to help stop getting any wraps. Handle section was great, but I did find, as I tended to hold the end of the handle right on the butt cap came off. So when I got back, a little bit of epoxy, and that's really sorted that out. So this is now my most favourite reel in the world. So this is an 8000 twin power SW with a Gamexus knob on the end. I've got P4 on there, 300 meters of it. It's just a fantastic reel. Really like that. Does everything it should do. That I then matched up with a Yamaha Blanks Blue Sniper. So this is the 854 Canary. It's not Canary, it's pronounced Canary apparently. So this will cast up to 100 grams, and I believe it's P3 to 6, I think, something like that. But really nice rod. I love this thing. It's expensive, but it was very good. When I was out there, I was actually using a Saragossa. I've since sold that and upgraded it to a twin power. So this is a 6000 twin power SW. The Saragossa was lovely. This is lovely. Yet again, Gamexus knob on it because they're really good. On here I have P3. Even though that might sound quite a lot, with P3 I could cast this so far. I had to stop the cast, so sometimes it was cast that well. This I then mated up to a Sakura Redbird. Now this is the 9-foot model. It will cast 60 grams. They do actually have on here somewhere, there we go, just there, the long distance special. This thing's a really good rod. They're really cheap as well. This was 80 odd quid, something like that in the UK, but nice rod. The rods I took this time, with the exception of the next one, were all requiring me to take a rod tube. I wanted to try and get the best as I could, and the rod tube was going to be the best way to give me the best actions. So those ones, as you can see, were all standard length in effect. So with the jigging setup, for once I actually went away from Shimano, but this is a Penn Slammer 4 6,500 high speed from a jigging reel. This feels so different compared to the Shimanos. The Shimanos are just so smooth. This is almost rough, but it's not rough. But yes, this was a great reel. I will be changing it. I'll explain that in a minute. So the rod that we actually I used on this was a Penn overseas jigging rod. It's in 5 pieces. It's 5 foot and a bit long. Would jig up to 400 grams, I think. Nice apps double locking reel seat, and it's plastic, admittedly, but there's a gimbal end on it. The thing against that was it had just a EVA pad on the end, just a slip-on pad, which as soon as you put this in any form of a rod holder or anything like that, that just pokes through. So I've now got a walking stick on end on it. And this was really good. It was great for jigging, but we also trawled with it. I'll come on to the lures shortly, but this was what I used for jigging, for trawling. We were ideally looking for sailfish, but wahoo was the thing that came along. This is the reason why I'll be changing this reel, is that I would consider going for 8,500 slammer, purely because of capacity. That holds about 300 yards of P6. If you hook a sailfish, well, 300 yards could go in the first run. So even though the capacity is okay for its size, I would want more if I was going to do more of that. So that's the different setups that I took. So lures, I took quite a lot with me, more than I've got here. I probably took about 20 poppers, probably 10 floating sticks, 10 sinking sticks, some divers, and then smaller lures and some soft plastics and something that potentially I could trawl with, if that was going to happen. So the ones I bought down here, if some of these haven't actually caught fish, they've raised fish. So I'll go on to what these ones are individually. So this one is a Tackle House sabiki. So this is a skipping lure, so it won't dive at all. As you can see by its chin, it literally will stay on the surface. This particular one is got a rattle inside it. It raised fish, it didn't actually catch. But nice lure to use. They cast a long way, 89 grams as you can see there. And being a Tackle House, they're really, really nice. So that's a Tackle House. Then I was told by one of the guys in the shop that I use quite a lot, if you don't take a Heru Kubera with you, you're mad. You must take at least one, ideally several. Well, I only took the one, so this is the 125. And as you can see, this one caught me a GT, yay! So yes, box ticked, caught a GT. Do them in lots of different colours, lots of different sizes as well. This being the 125, they do smaller, they do bigger as well, and obviously lots of colours. So that's the Heru. Tackle House feed popper. This is the 150, doing them in a variety of different sizes. I know I caught on it, but I can't remember what I did catch on it. It was probably some reef beastie that just wanted to destroy that. So that was that one. A lure that did really, really well for us. So this is the Destination Angler Dave Lewis. This is the weighs 90 grams. I believe it's 150 mil long. Most of us did find out there that the best lures, poppers, were the smaller ones, not the bigger ones, which I thought was not what I expected. And then, as everyone knows, the Halco Rooster Popper. So this is the 160. These caught really well. This lure probably caught more GTs while we were out there than anything else. So worked really, really well. So this is a gravity, handmade gravity stick. So sinking stick, squid, obviously. This did catch. It was a bonito, but it did catch. So it was nice that, you know, handmade lure has been caught on. I was lent one particular one, so I didn't have the right lure with me at the day, but this is similar enough. So this is a, oh God, I've got to look at it, I can't remember. I think this is a Tackle House K10. But yeah, a big-ish diving lure. This one I got all the way from Australia. So this is a Diver Saltiga Rough Ride floating. Comes standard with some really good hooks. I've upgraded the rings, but this caught me 2 or 3 fish, so that was well worth having. This one is got a rattle inside it. Our guide, Dave, he said this is a Shimano waxwing, and he called it the blank saver. If you haven't caught anything, put one of those on, you'll catch. The only downside is these are now discontinued, so if you can find them, buy them. I left my original one of these hanging on a piece of coral, unfortunately, slightly enthusiastic cast. But this is the Zorus Flap Sturry, so it just flaps on the surface like that. Caught on the one that I've lost, and I've now obviously since replaced it. I didn't catch on this GT ice cream, but GT ice creams were popular and they did catch as well. So definitely worth a few in the box. 60 grams, comfortable casting weight on a medium rod. Then coming down to the smaller lures, so a smaller diver, so a Rapala X-Wrap. They worked well, as did, this is a dual hardcore. So yet again on the light rod, it's a heavy lure. This particular one is 28 grams. On the light rod, that would cast a mile, and really, really good from that point of view. Something else I left decorating the coral. This is a Jackal Big Backer. Really, really nice colours on this. You can see reviews on all of these lures on the Popper and Stickbait channel. What have we got now? We've got a Jackson Muscle Shot that, as you can see by the scratches all over that was quite popular as well. This is something I was recommended by a channel I've seen in Australia. So I thought, right, let's get some, see what they're like. They work. That's another Jackal Big Backer. This one unfortunately didn't work, but pretty lure. You know, anglers like pretty lures. And then the Bite Me jigs, fantastic jigs, cast a mile, really, really good. So this one, this I made, apart from the head. A friend of mine's father made some of these heads up, and I'm very glad to say he gave me some of them. So it's made up by me on some wire. And it was sort of, are they going to catch or not? Yes, these caught really well. The Wahoo loved these. I put new skirts on them and bits and pieces because their teeth just shredded them. Something I didn't take but should have done. This is the Halco Max, so a trawling vibe lure. So this one, you know, again, they're heavy for what they are. This is 80 grams, so probably wouldn't cast it, but this is great for trawling. The one other thing that we did take was soft plastics. Now, with soft plastics and you're fishing for fish with real teeth, you have to be very careful because they can bite them in half. So I took some Z-Man. So Z-Man, as you may or may not know, they call them 10 times tough, and they're, you know, they really are stupid strong. I had the smallest bite you could possibly imagine, almost to the point I didn't think I had a bite, and something did that with it on one bite. It's like, how? I can't do that with scissors. So that's what happened to that one. And this one came in dragging its tail, which yet again had been cut like that by there. They got some proper teeth out there. Okay, so other things to take with you. Leaders. So I took 4 breaking strands of leader. I took a 70 for my light setup, 140 for the medium, 180 for the trawling gear, and then 220 for the heavy setup. All Varavas, all mono, because I've been told repeatedly, don't bother with fluorocarbon, don't need it. What else we take? A line puller, so if you get caught on the reef you can use this rather than to actually put the strain through your reel to try and pull for a break. We've made these, there's videos in the Lure Fishing for Wrasse channel, and I'll show you there how to remake them. A knot puller, carp fishing use these quite a lot, but when you've got a swivel that you're trying to pull really tight with 200-pound mono, and to get enough tension on there, it can be really difficult. You can't hold the swivel tight enough in your fingers. So having one hand wrapped with your mono, that on the other end, and someone else with the pliers holding the tag, lubricating the knot first, then pulling it, then you get it cinched down really well. So that was a good thing, worked well. Essential, take a hook sharpener with you. If your hooks are blunt, they're not going to work. Have a sharp hook, always good things. 100% essential. Split ring pliers. These ones happen to be the HPA ones. I've done a review of these. They're, in my view, the best split ring pliers you can get. Everything else just isn't up there. I've tried quite a few, and I've done various reviews on a few as well. But yeah, they're fantastic. It's worth having a small waterproof box So in this box I had my range of swivels, all NT swivels. So I took 101, size 2 and size 4, and then just a variety of splits went in the bottom for just in case I need them while I was actually out on the boat. When I'd come back in the evening, I would use a sock dryer that you can buy for about £5 on eBay. So each lure was hung up on those, went in the shower with me, everything's rinsed off, it would hang that overnight, dry lures in the morning, no rust, no nothing. So that was good. And just on the lines of that, I tend to only use BKK hooks, and I tend to only use decoy split rings. None of them have rusted. They were rinsed, as I've said, and since I've been home, they've been in a bucket of fresh water for 24 hours to get all the salt off them, dried off, hung up, no rust. 100% recommend them. Casting gloves. So I'm going to probably do another review on these. So this is the second time I've used these ones. So these are the Nomad design casting gloves. They are really useful. They stop you getting cut fingers. Excuse me. And because of the clothing that we wear, with a thumb loop that will come up to about there, the glove then comes over that. You don't get any exposed skin, so therefore you don't get sunburn, and you don't want to get sunburn out there. Fighting belt. Is it essential? No. Is it useful? Very. So yeah, this is the MC Works one. I really like this one. Works well, fits me well. On it, I've got a pair of scissors. So these are ceramic braid scissors. Yeah, again, I've done reviews of these. Tried lots of different scissors on the market. These are the best. There's nothing better. Proved me wrong. They are that good. I also took a spare line. I only tend to use Tasline Elite. So Tasline Elite, there are some people that didn't like this, and they said the reason why they didn't like it was it's too thin. If I just put this around the other way, then you can see the different breaking strains and PE ratings. Saying it's too thin, but this is stronger than the braid they were using. As it's thinner, therefore you can get more on there. I didn't have any issues with it at all. I love this stuff. It's bloody expensive, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the best braid you can buy. Then all the lures went in this. So this is my lure roll. This particular one came from Australia, but made by Missing at Sea. You can get these in this country. He doesn't sponsor me, hint, hint, but Terry at Gigabyte does sell a similar version of this that I believe is made by, I think it's Ocean Devil, but he has got them on his website. Really, really good, super tough. And because they've got mesh everywhere, you can leave your lures in there, dunk the whole thing in a bucket of water, and then just hang it up to dry. Really good. The other thing that I liked a lot, that I used twice, was this. So this is as you can see, an Abu Garcia, but Penn also make one of these. This is what they call their collapsible boat bag. So it will collapse like so. But I use this for two things. First of all, this was my cabin bag on the plane. So all my clothes went in there because my suitcase was full of fishing tackle. But then when I'm actually at the resort, this then gets emptied and comes out the boat with me. There are some different ones. You can get them from AliExpress. I've seen one from AliExpress, didn't like it. They are probably all made in the same factory, but I can't guarantee that. But yeah, really good, like that. Okay, so this is just a bit about some techniques. So obviously a reel on the handle there. I found with casting, traditionally when I'm casting in the UK, that's how I cast, and this finger will actually hold the line. But because of how you can see distance-wise, I found it so much easier to cast from there because my hand wasn't getting split like that, and I've got a stronger grip there. So I was casting like that and then getting lots of power. Okay, so that I found useful. You might find it useful too. Additionally, when we're popping, you'll hear about people when they're popping that will just go pop, pause, pop, pause. It's not the way that we were suggested out there. So using my fighting belt, I put the reel actually in the belt, and I could then go pop, 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 and it was a lot easier. It's using less of your body than doing a full sweep like that. So for when fish want poppers being popped quickly, that's the way to do it. The last little bit we found, just to go on this section, we found after a few days of 30 degrees, quite humid, and in some cases not much sun on the boats, that if we went trolling in the morning, so we could have a nice relaxing start to the day, interspersed with like 5 to 10 minutes worth of mental action when wahoos just pack attacked our lures, then we'd have lunch, then we went popping in the afternoon. That worked really well. So that might be something maybe to discuss with the captains of the boats that you're on. Right, so as I said previously, 30 degrees, in some cases, some boats didn't have any shelter, and it's humid as well. So you need to be fully clothed. So you'll see a picture that we'll put in somewhere about now of me sat on the back of a boat, and you can't see skin. So, you know, it's trousers, shoes, a fishing top, which has got a buff in it, and a hood, and a peak cap, and sunglasses. You're not exposed at all, so you can be in the sun all day long and not get sunburnt, which is quite an important thing, I found. Especially on some of the days we had, there was 0 cloud, so it was hard work. So sort of rounding up things, there were 7 of us all together. We raised lots of GTs. I raised 7 GTs in one morning, and not one of them actually committed to taking the lure, which is very, very frustrating. And also from that, it would depend on there were 4 boats they had there, and one boat was head and shoulders above all the others. It didn't have any shelter on and could only in reality take 1 person, but the skipper seemed to really know his stuff there. There were times when the fishing was hard. We had days when you could look over the side of the boat and it's like looking into an aquarium, but the fish were just not biting at all. Really frustrating, and at times we just had to get the stage going, you know what, should we just go back now and end the day early, which is a shame, but when they're not feeding, they're not feeding, and no matter what you do, they're not feeding. So there was 7 of us, including the guide. So the guide is in effect works for Spoilt For Choice. So there were 6 anglers there. I asked everyone the same question: would you go back? And we all said no. There were reasons for it. As I said, the fishing was hard, but it's called fishing, not catching, so it can't always be fish after fish after fish after fish. And if it is, then that can almost get boring. But it was hard work. We found the sandflies were in plague-like proportions. I drowned my legs in jungle formula, the strongest one I could get, and I ended up with about 20 plus bites on each leg below the knee. Yeah, that wasn't pleasant. Also, because we're on an atoll, and some parts of the Maldives aren't like this, but this one was, part of their religion, they're Muslim, is no alcohol. So there was no alcohol on the island at all. And we were told you cannot bring duty free in, alcohol's banned, full stop. So you respect their religion, that's them, that's what you do. It would have been nice at the end of the day to sit down with your mates, talk bollocks about fishing and drink a few beers. That sort of spoilt it. I don't want to get drunk doing it, but it would be nice just to have a few beers with your mates. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up. If you've got any questions, please do leave them below. I'll answer them as soon as I can, and please do subscribe to the channel. Many thanks now, bye bye.